So the FBI raided my house 3 weeks ago yesterday. They raided my paralegal's house.
Yeah.
They raided his house hard, with tanks. And I'm scared to death.
A massive ring of corruption was just exposed in, of all places, Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is a stranger than fiction, real life Better Call Saul / Breaking Bad situation. A massive group of crooked cops in 3 different agencies taking a massive amount of bribes, all centered around one criminal defense attorney who was the mastermind of this ring of corruption that has been going on for at least 30 years. This is the attorney, Thomas Clear III.
I am terrified they're going to kill me.
Yeah. I see there is a bullet on the ground here.
There should be no bullet here. Wow. My life has gone so upside down, and all I've ever done is love all my clients and help people, right? Especially police officers.
And here I thought all lawyers were idiots.
No, only half of us are idiots. The other half are crooks.
Any alcohol tonight?
No, sir.
No? Can I look at your eyes real quick?
Yeah.
Well, let's just see how you do, okay? I do have to place you in handcuffs and I do have to place you under arrest.
Seriously, sir? And with me, you representing me, that would guarantee that this doesn't go on my record?
Yes. So we charged $8,500 and you could do it in payments.
Why do you do all this? We're making a real difference. Trust me. We're doing the Lord's work here. If you say so.
People usually say, what's going on in West Virginia, watching some of my videos, but it seems like what's going on in New Mexico. I hate to go into grocery stores or big box stores. I don't mind going out and shopping for antiques, but I just feel like going inside physically a grocery store, picking food off the shelf, putting it in the cart, going and paying for it, taking it out to the parking lot, putting it in the truck, driving it home, it's all such a waste of my time. And that's why I love HelloFresh, the sponsor of today's video. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. They deliver delicious dinner recipes and ingredients right to your door, customized to your order. It's convenient. It gives me the time to do other things, especially living somewhere where it takes me a half an hour to even get to the grocery store. No drive, no lines, no hassle. And actually, they have better ingredients sourced directly from U.S. farmers. They arrive to you pre-portioned with fresh ingredients and easy-to-follow recipes pre-selected by you right to your door. And HelloFresh has tons of options. This is currently their biggest menu yet, with 50-plus dinner items available and even more market items available to suit any healthy lifestyle. Whether you're cutting or you're bulking, you get to choose from 30-plus calorie-smart and protein-smart recipes each week. So if you're like me and you like to eat delicious food, support the channel by clicking my link and subscribing to HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. But you don't have to take my word for it. Try it yourself. Click the link in the description or use my code and get 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life, which is 1 breakfast item per box while the subscription is active if you're in the US. Outside the US, local discounts will apply. Now let's get back to the video.
Thomas Clear III, the ringleader in what the feds are calling the DWI enterprise, pled guilty to multiple charges in federal court, including RICO, conspiracy, bribery, and extortion. In his plea agreement, Clear admits he, quote, led a scheme that involves numerous sworn law enforcement officers from Albuquerque Police, the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, and New Mexico State Police.
Thomas Clear was also I forget what his exact title was, but he was the head of the contractors for the public defender's office at one time too. And so he was largely connected both politically and also as an attorney.
This is a widespread issue of systemic corruption. The pervasiveness is unexplainable.
The 3 of us sitting here at this table today, it is not about, hey, we want money for these people. We want it different.
How confident are you that the scheme is stopped forever?
Sitting here today, I'm not confident in that.
We have this situation for over 30 years now based off of pleas that have been taken in federal court, where we're now finding out that this is a decades-long corruption scandal that went unchecked.
So I first came across this crazy story on YouTube, actually. I saw where there had been a class action lawsuit that was filed by civil rights attorneys in New Mexico suing everybody who was involved with this scandal. I reached out to those civil rights attorneys, and this is my conversation with them. They're all based out of Albuquerque. This is Taylor Smith, Ramon Soto, and Francis Carpenter. It was going on for 30 years. How was it exposed?
One or two people had the wherewithal to figure out that it seemed suspect. They didn't know that there was a scheme that was ongoing, but as soon as the officers who were arresting him said, "Hey, I know a guy that's going to take care of you. Here's his card." In addition to giving his card, their belongings were sent directly to his office as opposed to going through like APD evidence or our evidence here. And so there was a couple people all around the same time in 2022, 2023 that went to the public defender's office and said, "There's something weird that's going on. Who do I talk to?" And I believe it was two private attorneys. There was Mr. Damon Eli and also another attorney named Roberta Yursik, who then immediately brought it to the FBI's attention. And that's when the FBI investigation started, sometime, I believe, in early 2023. So we have a couple different clients who are the named plaintiffs, and they range from people who actually paid and were part of the scheme in that regard. And there's also people that were, they attempted to ensnare in the DWI scheme, but were successful in avoiding paying Tom Clear. One of the best ones that comes to my mind is Jose, who's one of our named plaintiffs, where he wasn't DUI at all. They tried to have him contact Tom Clear, and he was one of the people that avoided it. He wasn't DUI whatsoever. They pulled him over with the sole objective of getting him to pay, into their scheme. And I think his story is really compelling. He was the person who had not been drinking for a good amount of time for health reasons. And so that's why in the video that was shown in the local news media, "Hey, I am not DUI, at all. Can you guys actually prove this up?"
Just from the beginning, there was a power trip.
Then APD officer Honorio Alba told Vasquez he smelled alcohol on his breath.
Obviously, I knew that I hadn't been drinking, and it's like, I have a mask on. How can you smell? You have a mask on. What? How are you gonna, be smelling the smell of alcohol?
And the officers treated him much like any other person they interact with. They said, "Shut up and get in the car," and he did, and he ended up doing jail time for it.
If it was for speeding, write me up for speeding. But come on, I mean, DWI. My boy's asking for me. He's asking for me. I want to get here.
All his family's here. His son is here.
You guys know what drunk people look like. Do I look like a drunk person? What?
He doesn't.
Alba. Okay?
No.
If your sergeant feels confident that you guys will win in court, I would love.
You can all tell he's not.
Have a seat, then you're under arrest.
I almost fell out of my bed because I was watching the news that day. And I couldn't believe it. And I was like, there it is. This is it. It did have to do with money. Why would they want to give me an attorney? That's ridiculous. What cop is going to arrest you and then try and get you an attorney? I was punished before I had a fair trial.
He ultimately prevailed at trial on the DUI claim. But again, that's, as as a litigator, that's months and years of time that's lost in trying to defend yourself for something that just isn't grounded in fact or any type of evidence. So we had a first person come forward. His name is Carlos Smith. His his name on his ID is Carlos Sandoval Smith, but he prefers to go by Carlos Smith. He came forward and he was one of the first reporters in conjunction with another attorney who was also hearing from these people. And so what happened was he contacted the ACLU of New Mexico, and our office is a cooperating attorney with their office. And so they sent us over Mr. Smith's file and said, "Hey, take a look and verify what we're hearing from Mr. Smith and see if you can say, whether or not this is actually going on." So we kind of, in conjunction with the FBI's investigation, did a debrief with Mr. Smith. And so we kept digging, trying to figure out what more information we could.
On June 5th, 2023, Carlos Sandoval Smith was pulled over by APD officer Joshua Montano for speeding near I-25 in Central.
I'm Officer Montano with APS. Stopped you for speeding.
Yes, sir.
Carlos, why are you going so fast, man?
I apologize. I'm just trying to get over it. My bad.
Okay. Where are you coming from?
Downtown? Pizza place?
Okay. Any alcohol tonight?
No, sir.
No? Can I look at your eyes real quick?
Yeah.
Can you step out real quick?
I'm nervous.
despite passing field sobriety tests and blowing well below the legal limit twice, Montano still arrested him for DWI.
Just try to relax.
My cousin.
All right.
That'd be a good example. I shouldn't just bet. I'm sorry, sir.
Well, let's just see how you do, okay?
This is the bad knee, so can I do this leg instead?
Any leg you like.
Okay. 1, 2002, 2003, 47, 46, 45, 43, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R.
I do have to give you the opportunity to do arrest.
Okay.
I do have to place you in handcuffs and I do have to place you under arrest.
Seriously, sir?
Caller, still be return around.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Then off camera, Montano suggested contacting attorney Thomas Clear III to make the charge disappear. Mr. Smith, then understanding what was going on, surreptitiously recorded the henchman/paralegal at Clear's office, who was quoting him $7,500 to $8,500 to make everything go away.
So let me ask you, in your opinion, what is my next best step to try and not get this on my record? What do you recommend I do?
If you need to get off of this,
I do.
Okay, you're at the right place. If
Okay.
you're one of those people that can live with it, then
No.
go hire a cheap attorney.
I cannot.
Because there's some out there.
Okay.
We're not the most expensive.
Okay.
Not the cheapest.
Okay.
So we charged $8,500. You could do it in payments.
Okay.
Or you could pay $7,500 up front.
Okay, 8,500 or 7,500 up front. Okay.
7,500 cash. If you do payments, it'll be 85 plus tax.
85 plus
so it's
tax.
Like almost 9,000.
Okay, 85 plus. Is that per month or?
No. So it'd be 8,500 plus tax. It's almost 9,000.
If I do payments.
Yes.
And how do the payments work?
So on the payments, we ask for 50% down.
50% down.
And
So
it's like 4,500.
Okay.
And that you make either weekly or bi-weekly payments.
And when do you need that by?
Whenever you want us to enter.
And with me, you representing me, that would guarantee that this doesn't go on my record?
Yes.
Okay, and the odds of me not going with you and going with the public defender, what do you think about that? Because I'm not working right now, so I don't have an income. That's my only issue. Go ahead.
Roll the dice.
Got it, sir.
He opted for a public defender instead, and his case was dismissed in January of 2024 amid this federal probe where he helped unravel this scandal.
And shortly after we had filed his case, I believe it was in August, officers started being placed on administrative leave at a exponential rate. It seemed like, day one, there's one officer placed on administrative leave. And then there was this deluge of like the entire DWI task force that was then placed on leave. While we were working that case up, those officers were placed on leave. And then just in January up until now, there have been like these hidden pleas that have been taken by the officers and other co-conspirators.
So after Carlos Smith sort of blew the whistle on this thing, the FBI first got to Attorney Clear's sort of henchman, just like Saul Goodman had this shady henchman. So the henchman, Mendez, rolls first, and he apparently rolls on his boss. So everyone gets raided, the FBI collects information. Then just about a month ago, in January of this year, Mendez pled guilty to 8 federal charges, including conspiracy. Then shortly afterwards, February 7th, just this month, former APD officers Joshua Montano and Honorio Alba Jr. also pleaded guilty to federal charges tied to this investigation. The U.S. Attorney for New Mexico has indicated that more charges are expected, hinting at a broader network of corruption that may stretch across decades and involve many additional police officers, many of whom have opted to resign rather than even answer questions about their involvement in this scheme. There have been high-profile resignations, such as the county undersheriff on February 24th, just a few days ago. The full scope of this betrayal of the public's trust is still unfolding.
And so it all kind of started with Mr. Smith's case and, just not turning it away before we did our due diligence. And now everything that we had suspicions of are being confirmed through our federal courts.
I assume you guys have seen the body cam footage of when Clear calls the police that somebody had been inside his house.
Hey, boss, how you doing?
Scared to death. So the FBI raided my house 3 weeks ago yesterday. But I mean, this is a big deal that's going on right now. And I'm scared to death. They raided my paralegal's house.
Yeah.
They raided his house hard, like with tanks and everything. I am terrified they're going to kill me. But they were looking for something.
Your office, does it have any weapons or anything inside of it?
I didn't have any weapons in there, but my paralegal's been with me for 17 years. Oh, and then to top it off, yesterday the agents came and took my phone and my laptop to mirror them. So I don't have my phone right now.
If anybody is inside, do you wish to press charges on them?
Absolutely.
Attention the residents, it's the Albuquerque Police Department. Anybody inside, you are under arrest. Come to the front door, make your presence known now.
In here, there's like some old war rifles and stuff, or just whatever, but they're still here.
That would have been closed. They took a ton of baseballs.
Like signed baseballs?
Yeah, but then they were looking for something in here too.
Yeah. I see there is a bullet on the ground here.
There should be no bullet here. Wow, this has been the worst week of my life. My life has gone so upside down, and all I've ever done is love all my clients and help people, right? Especially police officers.
Do we know who was inside his house or whether somebody was inside his house?
As I'm sure you can see in like some of the YouTube comments or even other social media comments, our suspicions are in line with those. I mean, one of the figures who was in the back of the house cutting the electrical to it to avoid the alarm looks almost identical to one of the head officers in this, and that's Officer Montano. I mean, he looks like Captain America, and you take his officer photo and you put it next to that masked person, and it fits the build. You know, I can't confirm that sitting here today, but all the people that were shown in the ring camera footage look very much like the cast of characters that we've already sued, and so our suspicions are that this was manufactured.
Yeah, the first time I saw that, I said, those are cops.
You know, two of the other people that are in the front of the house while they're approaching Tom Clear's house, they both look like Rick Mendez, Honoro Alba, and Josh Montano.
What would they have been doing?
My understanding, based off of what you've reviewed too, is cleaning house, probably getting rid of a lot of our paper trail that we were hoping to sink our teeth into as part of discovery. You know, as Tom Clear mentions, he's like, all my files dating back to even when my father ran my practice are here.
So I've been practicing since 1982. My dad started practicing in 1956. I have files from 1956 back there.
Wow.
For some reason, the burglars knew of my secret stash of files underneath this bench.
But that's open.
Because for one, it's just a bench. How would somebody know that?
Nobody would know that unless, but my paralegal, they were looking for something.
Yeah, every cabinet has been opened, every drawer.
Well, the only people who knew about that were Tom Clear and his paralegal, and maybe the cops too. Again, these are just suspicions at this point, but my suspicion is that they wanted to get rid of any evidence that they could, try to make it look like a burglary, and hopefully we can't track down each person that they may have done this to.
What I'll say is that the circumstantial evidence shows that Rick Mendez got raided first by the FBI, and then maybe something tipped someone off. Tom Clear decided to, you know what, we're about to get caught. But again, like Taylor said, you know, these are all suspicions. We haven't confirmed anything, but it's very, 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 very shady.
So yes, in a way, there is a stain on APD, but I think that there is the general public who's going to realize that leadership is holding individuals accountable. We're not sweeping anything under the carpet, and we're making sure that we fully investigate everything to the best of our ability.
If it's not happening at the top, if it's not changing, and there isn't any change, then we need to get the top out of there. That's the problem, right? Why didn't you know this was happening? I mean, when you have thousands of cases being dismissed in 1 year because officers aren't showing up, you can't, and you have the judges. I mean, we all practice criminal defense. I was practicing in Metro Court for years, and there was chatter about it within attorneys being like, this is incredible. Thomas Clear has an 86%, 96% dismissal rate. I mean, people knew about it. We didn't know why it was happening or what was going on, but I think it was just being swept under the rug. this is like an onion. We have to just keep unfolding it.
Yeah, and follow the money to the extent that there's a money trail, but there was a lot of cash payments.
And gifts like cars, homes, vacations.
Tires.
Son of a.
Tell me about that.
That was was that in the Alba plea, Ramon?
Yeah, it was an Alba's plea, and they would describe the types of, either the types of valuable items that they were exchanged, and some of them were homes, some of them were tires, some of them were jewelry. So there was a lot of ways that these officers got paid that wasn't traceable.
There were people that were coming forward about this in 2003 and before that. They would report it to APD. I mean, there were people that said, "Hey, this cop told me," and I went to this lawyer's office, and they criminal notifying it. Nothing ever done.
They should take your area there and create some fictional drama about a corrupt lawyer and some corrupt politicians. It would probably do well.
Yeah.
I mean,
our goal in this litigation, as Francis has said earlier, is this isn't a money driver. This is an impact case where we want to help people out and make sure this doesn't happen again. But in terms of going backwards in time and rectifying what happened in the past is, hopefully we can go back through discovery, figure out where all of these officers touched and Tom Clear was involved, and hopefully get some form of expungement for those people that did get, convicted without having their fair day.
It's been interesting. A lot of the people that have called. I mean, one mother called me, and her, she was so upset with her son was saying, "Mom, I'm not intoxicated. I wasn't drunk. I swear to you." And then the mother just was so upset with him and forced him into to take a plea deal, because it was a stain on their family. But the son was adamant that I was not drinking, Mom, and the mom believed the police officer and not her son. And to hear her crying to me on the phone, saying that here my son is grown up and an accomplished person now, and but this really wrecked people's lives.
If people if they think that they were a victim of this, or if they have information, who should they contact to be able to reach out to you guys?
I would probably say that they should reach out to Ramon Soto or Taylor Smith's office, in any of our offices. But what we're doing is when people are calling us, we're putting it in one central repository that all of our firms are working on.
Well, I have an intake questionnaire on my website. They can reach me through there as well. They can call our offices. Our offices are, filtering through all these potential victims, and so we're happy to talk to them as well.
Even if it's a historical claim, we're looking at all of them. Obviously these crimes were fraudulently concealed for decades, and so it doesn't matter how old it is. We're happy to talk to anyone. I mean, this could be playing out for years. And I think it will. We've had some people come forward with historical claims, that are older than 15 years. Some people have agreed to talk with us. Some have just said, what happened to me in the past, and we've heard varying different styles of coercion that has been employed at different times by Mendez and other people. And so some people are actually afraid to come forward, and anyone who does, we're happy to talk with them. And if they wish to us not to bring up their name or anything like that, we're happy to hear from anyone that may give us any other indications of where to look, even if they want to bring their own claim. What do you mean coercion? Can you expand on that? We had a person come forward who does not want to be a part of it, but he informed me in our phone call that when he addressed Mr. Mendez of what he believed to be inappropriate by Tom Clear's office, Mendez had his brother with him, and they threatened him with a firearm. Where is Mendez now? I mean, is he incarcerated, or is he out?
He just got granted. He put in an application to leave the United States to travel abroad. The feds allowed it. They granted him permission to do that, which is shocking to me. Truly shocking.
That was a no-brainer.
I mean, it's incredible.
Did he already go?
We don't know. We were just made aware of this this week. So,
well, maybe he's gone now.
What's been shocking is that none of them have been held prior to sentencing. which, you know, I find it appalling because our clients and the victims did spend time in jail, and none of these cops, not Clear, not Mendez, have stepped foot in jail.
And they're the greatest, you know, risk of flight of any defendant that I could think of currently. You know, we have people that we represent for misdemeanor charges, and I had one ask the judge, "Hey, can I leave the country for a business trip?" And they said no, and it's for a basic first-time DUI. But these people who led a ringlead, had a ringlead of all these terrible schemes, now have the leeway to leave if they want, and we don't know if he'll come back if he does leave. I wouldn't if I were him.
That's insane.
I mean, he's facing over 80 years in prison.
You know, I just Googled Mendez, and it says that he had been arrested, it looks like, for transporting drugs into the country in the 90s and was convicted of a felony then. And Clear defended him. I guess that's how they met.
A match made in heaven for them. Right.
So I mean, he's already been convicted of a felony for previously trafficking drugs across the border. Now they let him leave the country on bond. That is, and this is in federal court.
The feds approved it. Mm-hmm.
This, like, if this were the plot of like Better Call Saul 2, you wouldn't believe it because it's just too cliche. You know, like the lawyer, you've got Saul, and then you have like his hench guy, just like in the show, and they met because he represented him when he got caught, you know, trafficking drugs into the country in the 90s. It's bizarre how similar that is.
Real life is stranger than fiction, and I think that's what we're seeing play out every single day as we hear more.
Was there anything else that was just really bizarre? I'm going to cut off right there because that deserves a video unto itself. This case keeps unraveling, and it really is stranger than fiction. Each new update is just more and more bizarre. There's tons more to the interview. This is just too complicated of a situation for just one video. What I think they need you to know as soon as possible, though, is if you received a DWI or you think you may have been involved in this scandal that went back possibly to the 90s, reach out to these lawyers. I will put their contact information in the first pinned comment below and at the blog post that is connected to this video. Definitely intend to stay in touch with these guys and get all the juicy details, hopefully, as they come out. They're very, very early on in the litigation. They haven't received any discovery yet, haven't taken any depositions yet. So there's lots more information to come. So you can follow along by subscribing both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. I foresee many future videos on this, which is one of the most insane things I've ever done a video on or seen in general. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.